and welcome back to the kitchen. This is Bitter Beer Man and I suck. Today we're going to make a Mediterranean loaf with sun-dried tomatoes and black olives, and I am looking forward to this. It is going to be tasty. Alright, give me one sec. And here's the ingredient list. We're going to need 5... Check the description below for the full recipe, including American and metric measurements. Alright, here we go. Now the first thing that we need to get started is we need to prepare all of our ingredients. Now, I've already pre-prepared most of my ingredients, but I've got some chopping I need to do. So I need to chop these sun-dried tomatoes up finely so that it mixes in well. Also, I'm using whole black olives, so I need to go through and chop those in so that they mix well into the dough. We also need to prepare our sprig of fresh rosemary. Now we're just using the leaves and not the stem itself, so we need to rip those off and then we need to finely chop them to mix it into the dough. So let's get chopped. Alright, after a quick battery swap there, now we've prepared all of our ingredients. Now it's time to start mixing. Now we're preparing the yeast starter. So we're going to start off with 300 milliliters of water, a half teaspoon of sugar. We're going to go ahead and just mix that right in, and 1 package of active dry bread yeast. Once I've added everything together, I like to use a fork to go ahead and mix them all together. It seems to work well to get the yeast to kind of break apart. Not lump as much. Once that we have everything nicely mixed, we're going to go ahead and set this aside and let the yeast activate and start to froth up. So now we need to sift our flour. And my hand sifter is messed up right now, so we're going to do it kind of an old school fashion way, using a metal strainer and putting some flour in there, and then just kind of bumping it and letting it sift itself through. Now you're going to make a mess, we all do, it just kind of is part of it. This is also a really fast way of doing it. That little hand sifter of mine takes forever. Now, if you really want to, you could go through and do a second sifting of it, but I've never found it necessary. Single sifting is usually just fine. We're also going to add our salt, our oregano, rosemary. Once all of our dry ingredients are added, we're going to go through with a whisk and just quickly mix them up together. This shouldn't take very long. You don't have to go overboard. It's just prepping it for wet stuff. Now, if we were doing this by hand, we would use a bigger bowl, we put it in there, and then we would kind of make a hole in the middle by pushing the flour out towards the edges where we can add in our liquid. But we're going to use a mixer because why? I'm lazy and I love to cook. Because why? I'm lazy and I love my gadgets. Alright, it looks like our yeast starter's ready, so it's time to add the wet ingredients. First, I'm going to go ahead and add the olive oil. And this is a time that it's great to have a spatula on hand to You always want to have a spatula on hand to help get it all out. Now it's time to add the yeast starter. So we're just going to go ahead and pour that in. Time to put it into the KitchenAid. So this is my first bake where I get to use my new dough hook. Check this out. Isn't this cool? It's 100% stainless steel. I got this for my old school 1980s KitchenAid tilt head. They're making these new types of hooks and stuff. Well, it's an aftermarket for the KitchenAid and I cannot wait to use it. They've made a couple other things that I can't wait to get as well. But today's the first time I get to use this dough hook. It's about here that I like to open it up and give it a test. As you can see, that new dough hook works quickly. Now what I'm doing here is I'm feeling it in my hands. You don't want it super sticky. You also don't want it super dry. Like if it's shaggy, it's too dry, but if it's too sticky, you need to add a little extra flour. Now, as you can see, it's not sticking to my hand, so it's doing really well. I like to work it, just keep it going. And this is where you can kind of ball it up. You can take it, and you can pinch it, and watch it go back on itself. That means that the gluten structure is doing well. You can also take it and pull it, and watch for the break. See that? It's pretty good. This is one that you do not want to over mix. Like, it's going to do pretty well by itself. Right now, not a big deal. Once we add the olives and sun-dried tomatoes, the more you mix it, the more that the olives are actually going to crumble into it, so you're going to get like olive paste instead of olives. For this last portion, I like to do it by hand. I don't like to use the mixer for it because it just beats up the rest of the ingredients. So what we're going to do, we're going to use our big chopping board here. We're just going to kind of work it out. Then we're going to take the last two ingredients. We're going to start working them in. Now I'm doing the sun-dried tomatoes first because they can take a little more of a beating than the olives can. The olives, you start really mashing on them, they're not going to stick very well. And honestly, just keep working them in. Do you feel like that's enough? Now this is starting to get a little hard to work. So we're gonna do something slightly different here. I'm gonna go ahead, roll it out. Inside here, I'm gonna add some of our olives. Mix them in. We're just gonna kind of roll them over like that. We're gonna roll it out again. Now the olives will add some more moisture to it. So keep that in mind as you do this. Now when we're to this part, I like to go through and just work it underneath with my hands and kind of stretch it. Just kind of make a nice little dough ball with it. It's already looking amazing. Look at that. Alright, look at that. Isn't that looking amazing? I like to go through at this point and just kind of tuck it under with my hands. And now it's time to rise. Now I don't have a proving drawer, and I'm assuming most of you don't either. I would love to have one, and when I can do my kitchen remodel, hopefully I can get one. But for now, what I like to do is I like to heat up my oven to just over 100 degrees. Now my oven doesn't register anything under 100 degrees, so what I do is I hit bake, I hit start, and then the second that this jumps above 100, I turn it off. While we're waiting for the oven to preheat up enough for us to prove it inside the oven, we're going to get the rest of it ready. So we've got a nice big bowl, stainless steel, all metal because it's going into the oven. We're going to take a little bit of olive oil, extra virgin, and we're just going to pour it in the bottom. This is one of those breads that loves oil. Like, almost, you basically can't over oil it. We're going to take our dough ball and put it in the bottom. We're going to kind of swirl it around to let it hit all of that oily underneath. This will help keep it from sticking to the sides of the pan, or the bowl as well. And we're just gonna drizzle a little more oil over the top. We're gonna work it in with our hand. Just try to get every section so it's nice and oily. Alright, so I just overheated my oven a little bit. I meant to stop at about 105 and it actually hit about 130. But that's okay. All you have to do is turn off the oven, crack the door for a minute, and keeps just leaving it. So once it's down a little bit, it'll be fine. It really only does take about a minute to get it down. So I have my dough ball all oiled up inside my bowl. So the oven's preheated. So all we need to do now, go ahead and cover up our bread dough ball and stick it in the oven. And set your timer for 1 hour. And let it sit. See you in an hour. Alright, so it's been an hour. Now we're going to pull it out and see how it rose. Oh, look at that. Isn't that beautiful? Alright, now we're going to sprinkle a bit of all-purpose flour onto our work surface. Keep the flour handy just in case. We're going to transfer the ball onto the bowl. We're just gonna work it in on itself. I like to roll under as I'm doing this. That way we get a nice ball here. We're going to go ahead and smush it down, and now we're going to go ahead and put it onto our baking sheet. I'm going to go ahead and drizzle a little more olive oil on the top. Bring it around. Make sure to get a decent coating across the whole loaf itself. Wash our hands real quick. And we're going to put it back in the oven to rise for another 15 to 30 minutes. Alright, it's been 15 minutes. Let's go ahead and pull it out of the oven and see how much it's risen. We may need to put it in for another 15. We'll see. Ooh, look at that. I think we're good to go. It's definitely risen more. And I think it's looking gorgeous. What do you all think? It look good? I think it's good. Alright, now we're going to preheat our oven to 400 degrees. While our oven is preheating to 400 degrees, we're going to go ahead and put a little bit of pink Himalayan salt on top. You can also use sea salt for this, but I kind of like the pink Himalayan a little bit better. Give both a try. Now that we're at 400 degrees, we're going to go ahead and just pop this right in. And we're going to set the timer for 25 minutes, though it may take a little bit longer to bake. Alright, it's been 25 minutes. The alarm just went off. Let's go ahead and pull it out and check it out. I don't think it's ready yet. I kind of peeked in for a second. We'll see. Ooh, look at that. So what I'm doing right now is the thump test. So if you tap on it and it sounds hollow, yeah, it's probably done. So let's make sure that the microphone picks this up. The second test we do is the toothpick test. Toothpick. I'm going to go ahead and just push it right in, pull it out, and if it's clean, it should be done. I think we're good. A little bit lighter of a loaf than I'm used to. Inside's a little bit darker. I'm going to go ahead and put it in for another minute though. And now we're going to transfer it over to a wire rack so that it can cool for a couple minutes. You need to give it 15 minutes to cool off before you cut into it. Trust me. I've screwed it up before. Alright. I'll see you in 15 minutes. Alright, it's been 15 minutes. It's cooled down enough that we can actually handle it and we can cut it open. But, look at this bread. Check this out. Isn't that gorgeous? Base even looks good. Cannot wait. Alright, we can get rid of the cooling rack. Put it here on our cutting board. I need a new bread knife. I need a better bread knife. If you have recommendations for which bread knife I should get, put it down in the comments. I'd appreciate that. Alright, ready? That is beautiful. Oh, this smells amazing. I wish you were here to smell it. Oh, that tastes good. See that? See how losing bits out of it. Look at all that. Isn't that gorgeous? I do love to put just a little bit of butter on my bread. Oh my god. It's so flavorful. Soft, airy. Oh man, it's perfect. This is perfect. The sun-dried tomato with the salty olive and the man. Just wait. You need to make this and enjoy it. Alright. That's gonna be it for today. I'll see you next time. Cheers. Bye. Oh, and like and subscribe. If you want to throw a comment down there, throw a comment. You know, do all the stuff. You know what you need to do. Alright.